Why did Randy disappear again, bro? That happened last week too. We're leaving it in. Honestly, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back.
Get
to
out of
another
here!
episode of Kingdom Says. I am your host, as always, Garrett Williams. We've got a great episode tonight. Already rolling off the rails here. You know, this is another free agency special for you guys. It's definitely a special one. I'm here. All my friends and co-hosts are here. Kyle Henning is here. How you doing, Kyle?
Pre-show's been off the rails, and I don't think it's going to stop now. So Randy got tossed out of the club like the Peaky Blinder he is, and
The Peaky Blinder.
We had a whole bunch of moves. Brett Veach has been busy, and it usually late at night again, like normal. So it's either like 6 a.m. or midnight. So one of the two. It's never normal hours with Brett. So we're here to talk a bunch of moves, and we're that much closer to the draft, and we have a little bit better picture now of what the old draft needs look more like, which is kind of what we expected. But we'll talk about all that as we go. So
eloquently said, Kyle. I tell you what, eloquently said. That was good. I like that.
Occasionally,
also joining us, the resident vibe coder, Thomas. Tom, how you doing, Arrowhead Tom?
I don't know if I don't know if I want that moniker.
The vibes. The
he's
vibes
got the glasses
are not
on
good,
tonight, bro. He's all tech savvy. He's in his tech polo. You know, he's savvy tonight.
I'm doing good, Garrett. Thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be known as the vibe coder guy, but we're here. It's already a lively episode, and I think it's going to get more. So, we're vibe coding and we're just vibing. So
we are just vibing. It is big vibes tonight for sure.
Make sure if you're vibing with us, you hit the like, subscribe, follow, all of that stuff. You guys hear it all the time. We don't beg for you guys to do it a whole lot, but your support means the world to us. You guys are the number 2 reason why I do this podcast show. The number 1 reason is so that I get to see everybody's, the lovely faces of my coworkers, my co-hosts, coworkers, whatever, colleagues. And if you don't get to see their faces, then you should check us out on YouTube, because we are on YouTube.
Nice. All those words started with C, Tom. That was good. Good job, buddy.
That was a good promo, Tom. I like that.
Words.
Great promo. Last but not least, Randy's here. Randy Ellenberger is here. How you doing, Randy?
I am doing awesome. It is always a blast to get together with you chuckleheads and talk some ball and we're gonna hang out. We're gonna solve the world's problems. We're gonna pull out some Pulitzer type material tonight, and we're gonna have at it. So it's gonna be a good time.
You want to hear Kyle's solutions to the world problems? Ooh.
No,
that might be a rough one. That might be a tough one. So we'll stick to football. We know best.
Busy editing that one, I think.
Yeah, that might be. Yeah. That one. We'll stick to changing the football world as best as we can. Because that's what we know best is football. And boy, is there a lot of football happening. Not real football, but just news of football. Right? Free agency has officially kicked off. The legal tampering period started on Monday, and now the official free agency window opened today, Wednesday, March 11th, which, that's always a whole thing in itself, the tampering period and then the actual opening of the window. We saw some craziness because of that happen with a Max Crosby trade to the Ravens that ended up getting canceled before the league window, the league new year started. There's just all kinds of crazy things with the tampering window and all this. So, officially all these people became Chiefs and other players today, but a lot of these, actually all of the Chiefs contracts really were agreed to on Monday. So, it was an exciting start to free agency, and then there's been a lot of nothing ever since then. So we're going to talk about all that excitement. First and foremost, kicking it off with, before free agency even kicked off, the announcement that Travis Kelce was coming back officially for his 14th season in Kansas City, which is really, really great. I think we were all very excited for that to happen because, nobody wanted to see Kelce go out like that, how he did, with a really crappy practice squad team around him, losing, not making the playoffs. You didn't feel like really the end of him when he was walking off the field that final time in the regular season. And it seemed for most of the vibe that he was giving off, a lot of the press conference answers and stuff like that, it seemed like he was probably going to come back. So that was made official, which is really, really great. And yeah, Kelce's back. Kyle, what do you think?
I'm stunned. Look, man, your last pass cannot be thrown by Chris Oladokun. And no offense, Chris. No offense.
No offense.
But well, the throws were offensive. I apologize. No, I'm sorry. Anyway, yeah, man. The weirdest part to me was the attempted sideshow that went with it. Like,
yeah, the athletic sideshow.
I mean,
I was not buying it.
No, man. Didn't you know that Donna was getting a remodeled house? Come on.
Yeah.
Catch up.
That was important news. You're right.
Thank you, TMZ, for keeping us updated on Donna's apartment window replacement that they enlightened us to what was actually happening on New Heights today. Also, we talked about it last year. Like, he said on New Heights today, he was like, hey, Jason was like, when did you decide that you were coming back? He was like, middle of last season.
Yeah.
But like, he's like, but I needed to take time away and think about it. And then Taylor was like, go away. And so go back to work. Go away.
Go play football.
Go away. You are way too golden retriever-y for me at the moment. Go do something. Go on. So, I mean, look, man, he still was like a top 4 or 5 tight end in the league. I don't know if that was like agent PR stuff to like, hey, he could go get. He's not leaving Kansas City. He never has his whole career. You guys remember how you guys got this job? He fired the last guy that did this. Do you guys not remember that? He fired that guy, signed the contract himself, and then hired you guys later. Remember? So like, that part was weird. I trust Diana most of the time, so like maybe she was just getting sourced info from an agent, but that was just all of that was odd. He was never going anyway. This isn't Tony, where Tony needed a ring to like finish out the mantle of the career and stuff and like all that. Like this was, he has all of that. He has literally all of it. So
yeah.
Now it's to go out with Patrick and to go try to win another ring. I mean, it's what they're there for. So I don't know. It was always I never thought he wasn't coming back this year after, like he said, like halfway through last year, I was like, that just doesn't seem like a guy that's done, and he's not. So I'm happy. He should. And the deal's fine. Like everybody's like, oh, he's gonna. He can't go to tight end U with a $6 million contract. He can't do that.
So the deal
doesn't help his position.
A 1 year deal, the 1 year $12 million deal worth up to $15 million. So it's a pretty decent deal. I think a lot of us kind of predicted maybe in the 8 to 10 range he'd end up, but 12 up to 15. That's fine. I don't think in the Chiefs books, I don't think any number would have been. I think Chiefs like, yeah, whatever, bro, whatever you want, we'll sign it.
If he'd have said 18 million, they'd have been like, I mean, do we have to? But they still would have done it.
Yeah.
But like, but he couldn't. Like I said, he couldn't take. I don't think he could take an $8 million or $10 million contract back to tight end U and look those guys in the face and be like, I'm helping you guys out with your guys' next deals. See, so like I said, when you put up top 3 or 5 production, even if you are 36, you're still top 3 or 5 production until you stop being top 3 or 5 production. So I'm happy to have him back. The amount of leadership that they've lost in that locker room I know a lot of it's been on the defense, but they've lost just the overall amount of leaders that are no longer in that room. It's good to have one of your biggest pillars and building blocks in that leadership group for that franchise back in the building for another year, especially because apparently they think they underused him last year, which I don't know how the hell you came to that conclusion, but I guess so. Maybe he's getting 95% of the snaps this year. Who knows? I don't know what that means, but glad he's back, I guess. He may not be by the time like week 9 hits if they're going to use him more than they did last year, but
yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's interesting the philosophy around him, where it's obviously a lot of the fan base kind of feels like, yeah, obviously you shouldn't run your offense through a 36-year-old tight end, but at the same time, he's still productive, and he's still, I mean, one of the most reliable pass catchers that we have. So I mean, what are you supposed to do? And especially with the lack of development we saw kind of behind him, especially this year for whatever reason. I mean, Noah Gray kind of fell off the planet. Jared Wiley wasn't even a thing. Robert Tonyan, we thought that was going to be a fun story. He did nothing all you see. So it was kind of just like, well, who else are you going to give the ball to if it ain't going to be Kelce?
Guys,
so they're going to need to make probably more investments behind him through the draft or a free agent signing or something maybe. But yeah,
I guess from real quick, and then the other two can go. But that would be like, hey, Jerry Rice is over there. You shouldn't throw him the ball. And I know that should be hyperbolic because I said Jerry Rice, but
putting up numbers when he was 40, right? I mean, it was.
And also Travis has broken a lot of Jerry Rice's receiving records, especially the postseason ones. So like, maybe it doesn't seem so hyperbolic. Yeah, if you're gonna have him and he's gonna be there to do the job, I guess throw him the ball.
Yeah, for all these people that just say, they want to write him off just because of his age, just shut up. Like, Travis is still, the best all-around tight end in football, and he is literally right now the lifeblood of this team. So, I mean, without Trav, and with Pat's future in in limbo, with his if he's going to be ready by the time season starts, like you have to have Travis on the offense to keep that ship upright.
Hey, Jay Glazer said Pat's playing in the Hall of Fame game, even if the Chiefs are. So you calm down over there.
Hey, you watch Pat walk into the basketball game tonight. He's walking all right. So
he's walking all right. Yeah.
But I'm thrilled to have Travis back. Like you let Travis play as long as Travis wants to play, and that's my opinion. Period. Like. That door is always open, and that locker will always have Kelce above it with 87 next to it until he physically takes it down himself.
Going to make him do it himself. They pay people for that.
No, and Travis has earned that right to take that nameplate when he walks out the door. So,
yeah. Oh, now you're encouraging theft, Randy? Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I would never not welcome Travis back. I think it's. I think the concern, as others have said, is just he's still valuable, but it feels like even last year they were trying to hand off the keys to the offense a little bit, and they wanted him to be more of a complementary role, and that was some of the conversation going into training camp, and we just know that their offensive plans last year did not go according to plan, and that goes back to those previous discussions of hopefully. They have some. There was a lot of buzz around this offense, with Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Travis, and obviously we saw Tyquan Thornton. Like, we'll see how it goes because hopefully those other guys, because we know Travis is going to handle his business. Hopefully those other guys are going to come in and have their poop together. Can we say shit? We're saying shit. They're gonna have their shit together on the.
You replaced shit with hoop.
I said
that was. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Like I said, I don't know. Does that give us an explicit tag? This is off the rails, but
brother, I crossed that bridge early. Don't worry about that. We don't.
But yeah, no, we. I don't like the idea of putting that all on him. It would be really nice if the team rallied around him and we, kind of won for Big Trav, but we'll see how it goes. It's still early in the offseason, lots of additions and things to go. We'll see how it works.
Yeah, we'll see how.
I too would like to see them not commit elder abuse for 14 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to keep him fresh. He said try to preserve him, especially through the early parts of the regular season, and keep him fresh for the playoff run. But Eric Bieniemy's back, so we'll see how those changes. Obviously, he kind of even teased this a couple months ago when the Chiefs hired Eric Bieniemy. He was like, "Yeah, I'm real excited to see him back in the building," and everyone was like, "What do you mean you're going to see him back in the building? What do you mean by that?
So what are you doing at the building, Mr. Yeti?"
So that was kind of a tell right there. So happy to have Trav back for sure. Happy to have him, and like I said, it's good to have more continuity on the offense, and keep up. A solid locker room leader as like I said, because there's a couple departing from the Chiefs, so you need all the locker room leaders you can get. So shout out Trav, definitely happy that he's back. And that was quite the way to kind of kick off the pre-free agency day. That was a fun little thing dropped in like an hour before. So and obviously that also kind of affects the Chiefs' free agent stuff, right? I mean, having him signed early, I'm sure they agreed to the deal, the final terms a little bit later. I'm sure they had a gauge of how much he was going to be costing them, and then they can kind of go from there with their next big free agent signing, which was this is the big free agent signing, right? This was the one of the biggest first, after like the first 5-10 minutes it came out. Chiefs signing Kenneth Walker, Super Bowl MVP, Seattle Seahawks running back, he's a phenomenal player. He really is such an exciting guy to watch. Obviously, he just put a show on for the whole world in the Super Bowl, being the Super Bowl MVP, just running all over that Patriots team. He was basically the Seahawks' main offense in that game for the majority of it. That was kind of the thing, right? That was the hope for Chiefs fans this whole offseason, and really since the Mahomes era, right? Invest in a running back. Do something at the running back position. The only investment they've really had is a first-round pick in Clyde Edwards-Helaire a couple of years ago, and a couple seventh-rounders, and that's about it. So Kenneth Walker, huge addition. What was it? I'm trying to find the deal term.
$45 million with 28.
3 for 45. Yeah. So I mean, a really significant investment. $15 million a year basically into a guy, and he's that's gonna hopefully reinvigorate our running game and really go from one of the least explosive units and one of the worst running back units to now potentially going to the best and one of the most explosive running back units in the league. So I'm very excited about it. I don't know. What do you guys think about it, Kyle?
I always go first. Somebody else go.
You're right. Someone else go. Randy, what do you think?
I'll take this one. He was my number one free agent target. Like, we had to seriously upgrade that room, and I have been bagging on the running game for years, and you try to patch it in with a bunch of random free agents, and then the whole failed Clyde Edwards-Helaire experiment, and then you hope and pray that a seventh rounder turns into something. Which Pop gave us a couple of good years, some injuries, and then his complete lack of vision and feel for the run game was just too much for anyone else to bear. So, I was a huge fan of Kenneth Walker in college at Michigan State, and he's a total package running back. He can run between the tackles. He's explosive enough and fast enough to get outside. He can catch. He can pass protect. Like, it's nice to have a true bona fide running back one that's going to be on the field for 3 downs, and really add some juice to a part of our game that has been severely lacking. And I mean, he's by far the most talented running back we've had since Jamal Charles, and that's not even close. So awesome to have a bona fide stud back there to take some pressure off of Pat feeling like he has to run around and do absolutely everything. And now hopefully, Andy being Andy, but hopefully he really does put some more emphasis into the, under center run game. You got to do it. But yeah, super excited. My number one target. I was very, very happy when this came across. So.
Yeah, I mean, even Eric Bieniemy back in the building, Tom, and DeMarco Murray as a running back coach. Like, it seemed like we were pretty committed to overhauling the run game, and now the Kenneth Walker side, man, that's huge. That's really big. And honestly, I don't know how you feel, Tom, but like, even if they don't make drastic changes to the scheme, I mean, Kenneth Walker's a guy. You give those stupid, shotgun 2nd and 10 runs to him, he's still going to do a lot better on those than what Pacheco and Kareem Hunt were doing, right? So even if we keep the same horrible scheme, which I don't think we will, but like, he's just way more talented of a player anyways.
It'll be just really nice watching a running back not run into the back of our offensive lineman consistently.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think, like, we say, like, the terrible scheme and that type of thing, and as I was watching Kenneth Walker and even watching some college prospects, like, the discourse around running back is always, oh, it doesn't matter. You can just get by with anybody. That's not true. That's when we've been arguing about this whole Jeremiah. Like the positional value might be lower, but the positional value of a running back is not zero. You have to have somebody who can do that.
Yeah.
The problem that the Chiefs' offense ran into a lot was the defenses could stop the run with a light box. And I think the numbers backed it up. The Chiefs saw more of that, more of those too high safety looks, and more guys in coverage, which made passing the ball harder. Made play action less effective. So it was just like when you don't have that respect for that running game, it's and the lack of explosive runs, right? Like you talk about those 2nd and 10 runs. There is something to be said about if you are, it's 1st and 10, and now you're playing, a 2nd and short versus, a 2nd and 7. There's just more house money to play with. I'm pumped about the move. I know Breece Hall is the other big name that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom was talking about even at the trade deadline, and I think I even said back then, like, I'd much rather make a move for Kenneth Walker, and that was before the whole Super Bowl playoff run. I think Kenneth is just a phenomenally talented runner. His vision is excellent. He just has this ability to make these moves and get upfield. Gosh, he's fun to watch. I'm excited to have him here. I think he's going to make the whole offense click in a way we haven't seen in a long time, just because it was just atrocious. I mean, if you go and watch some of the highlights, or just the highlights of Walker running, like you can just see the difference in the quality of runs. I think the numbers on the lack of explosive runs in Kansas City were shocking to me. Like I was, some of them, and I should have saved them for this talking point, but I knew it was bad. It was that bad.
There were, Tom, I can tell you, there were 3.
Yeah.
And
3.
One of them was Patrick Mahomes on a scramble, and the another one was Xavier Worthy on an end around.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
There was one traditional run of 20 or more yards, and I think it was Kareem Hunt dragging people for like the last 6 to get there.
Yeah. So it was
not good, Bob.
Yeah. Well, and Randy, I'm sure you can attest to this. There's something about like a big run, even if it doesn't go for a touchdown, that just juices your offense up, right?
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, your offensive linemen are hyped, and your receivers, it's just like there is an attitude about being able to run the football that is just different. And you rip off that 20-yarder, that 30-yarder, like all of a sudden it's a momentum mover.
Absolutely, it's demoralizing for a defense. Because you look up the numbers on Kenneth Walker's explosive runs versus a heavy box, like he's doing it consistently, versus 8 in the box. So that's demoralizing to a defense when you commit that many bodies to the box to stop the run, and it still doesn't work because the dude has patience and feel and understands how blocks are set up and how the zone game actually works with cutback lanes and using his eyeballs and his feet at the same time. Like it's a completely different look than what we've had in the past.
Yeah, what's pretty crazy, Kyle, is that we might have not even we didn't even think we would be able to sign him, right? Like a couple months ago, we thought with Zach Charbonnet's injury and the Seahawks, we thought he would be and even like the reports that the Chiefs would only want to spend like 8, 10, maybe 12 million on a running back, and he got way more than that. Like we didn't think it would be possible that he would be here, and he's here.
Oh, so this is the Brett Veach overreaction. This is this was the thing this year for him to freak out and go, holy good God, never again. We're going to make sure this doesn't. He's done it. It was the O-line.
You mean like rebuilding the entire O-line in one off season?
The defense in one off season, the O-line in one off season. The
O-line again.
He tried to rebuild the wide receiver room in one off season. The O-line again last year in one off. So he does this every year where there's some, and even in the years that they win, he sees something and he's like, yeah, we won, but oh my God, no, never. So that's what this is. It's bittersweet. I also think that means that they basically knew Jeremiah Love was not getting to pick 9 and they didn't want to trade up to try to get him. Because they could have signed Tyler Algier or some of the other mid-tier backs for
Rico Dowdle or something
for like Garrett said, 7, 8, 10 million. Travis Etienne got 4 for $48, I think is where that finally came in at. So that was like 12 million. But Brett said, fine, we're going to address the running game because I'm tired of watching them just put 4 in the box and there's nothing we can do. And so but I do think they went with Walker for a couple of reasons. One of them, it's the shorter deal. It's only 3 years and it's only 2 guaranteed basically with the 28.5. Versus Etienne being 4 years, which means it's basically a 3-year deal. It's basically like 36 million, I think, guaranteed, or 32 million guaranteed. It's in that ballpark. So I'm happy that they addressed the position because it was absolutely abysmal. Imagine what Kenneth Walker's going to do when they have 6 guys in the box and not 8 because they can't put 8 people in the box unless you want to watch Patrick Mahomes in your day. So this will scratch each other's back scenario. But I think the thing that most people are going to notice immediately is that Kenneth can see.
Great vision. Phenomenal vision.
Well, the bar was in hell, but legitimately he can see where he's running. He can see, but he also sees holes. He sees the little things where the lineman flashes ahead to one, the D lineman flashes ahead to one side to get to another side. Randy talked about this understanding the zone run schemes and the cutback lanes. Randy also mentioned that he thinks that some magical way Andy Reid's going to start running from under center more often. And sir, I hate to be the one to break this to you.
I know. I hope and pray every year. Hope and pray.
Well,
it might happen one of these years.
Me and the lottery have the same relationship, bud, and we have the same results.
You never know. Eric Bieniemy might really reform everything.
They ran the ball out of shotgun when Eric Bieniemy was here,
right.
So I just, but he can also get to those runs. That's the other problem is the run game that they've been running was not built for the running backs they had the last.
And I had preached that for the last 2 seasons. It's like, yeah, we had downhill one-cut run guys with bad vision.
They can't get to an edge. No, not even that. They couldn't get to the edge. Like Pacheco and Kareem could not get to the edge, which shout out to Isaiah Pacheco. Good luck in Detroit. Yep. Walking around telling Jahmyr Gibbs good job on running that one. No, they'll use Pacheco on 3rd down because Dan Campbell will love him. Pacheco is a glass eater, pounds the ground. Like he fits perfect into Detroit
perfectly. Yeah, he is. I'm still rooting for Pacheco. Pacheco. Listen, Pacheco the first 2 years is super great. Love the guy.
7th round pick.
Yeah, 7th round pick. I mean, couldn't ask for anything more. 2-time Super Bowl champion, starter. Injuries just took a toll on him, and he never really had vision to begin with. But it's obviously that they were and
he didn't get a lot of teaching of vision at Rutgers, guys. There weren't any holes to see. There was just bodies.
Yeah, so it's like Kyle said, this is an overcorrection for sure. This is a big swing in the other direction. And a lot of people were kind of confused, or not a lot of people, but I saw some people were like, "Oh, what are the Chiefs' plans at running back?" To invest at running back because they've been not investing at running back the past forever, and look where we're at now. So sometimes you gotta put a little bit of investment at the running back and get a guy who can come in immediately day one and like I said, like he can do everything. He's a 3-down back if you need him to be. Like he can add to the passing game phenomenally. The screens, he's a phenomenal screen getter. Like he can make guys miss. Like he is the complete package. He's a phenomenal talent. He's still only 25 years old, right? He's still super young too. Like dude is just
That's the other reason they did it.
Because, he's 25 and he's been splitting some carries with Charbonnet the last few years.
That's true. Even
that's not a detriment to him or his ability. That's just, that was Seattle's scheme. They wanted a 2-back system. So for being 25 and a featured back, like there's still a lot of tread on the tires.
Guys, he played for Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll is still to this day trying to resurrect Reggie White and Lindell White and Reggie Bush. Like he's been trying to recreate that for 25 years or 20 years now. Like, so
that was always one thing very notable about Seahawks fans. Every time like you would see the online reactions to them and be like, why is Kenneth Walker not playing more? Why is he just getting taken out in multiple drives for Zach Charbonnet? Now shout out to Zach Charbonnet too. He ended up, he's developed into a good runner, but it's just, I don't know. There's some of those 2-back systems you sometimes see where it's like it's really hard for a guy to kind of get going and get in the flow of the game if he's getting subbed out every other drive or something like that. So it's,
keeps getting his touchdowns vultured. I don't know anything about that.
True.
Not a fantasy football gripe.
That is true. Yeah, that was a big theme. Yeah, Kenneth Walker, like 98-yard run down to the 2-yard line, and then all right, bring in
Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, stealing all the touchdowns.
Saw the tweet that says Zach Charbonnet is going to be so angry when he finds out he has to run the other 98 yards on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it like
you mean not just from the 5s, guys? It's not goal line to the 5 and 5 to the goal line. That's not the whole field.
Which once again, this is all why this was kind of surprising that he even hit free agency. That was kind of reported after, like a week or so ago, where it was said like Seattle and them haven't really come to an agreement or anything like that. And if you're at Seattle, I feel like you should have definitely paid this guy. He just won Super Bowl MVP for you. It's $15 million a year.
Hurt coming off an ACL for next year.
Exactly. Like you're probably not even going to have him for majority of this season, right? Because the ACL injury is going to take him to mid-season until he's healthy. So you're having a whole new plan at running back now that it worked pretty well for your last season. So I don't know. I know there's an allocation of funds to other places, but that is hey. Fine by me, fine by me. Seattle, you guys won the ring. You guys can do whatever you want.
Paying Sam Darnold more than Patrick Mahomes, you can't spend as much on the running back. It's just,
I guess so. So their loss, our gain. Really excited to have Kenneth Walker in Kansas City. Really excited to see him suit up in that number 9. Which RIP Juju. If we end up re-signing Juju, sorry, bud, you got your number taken. So. There is a new K9 in town, and it's I also like the nickname K9. It's a good nickname.
He's a dog.
He is a dog. That is right, Randy.
Now the verdict is out on whether he is a rabbit dog or a rabid dog. I don't know if anybody else saw our friend Tucker maybe accidentally used the wrong word. I think they're making T-shirts now. Shout out Tucker. But
I didn't see that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think he was going for rabid. Because he was talking about all the fans barking like rabid dogs, but he said rabbit like somebody was hunting Bugs Bunny. So I don't, but
tough little
Kenneth is. Look, they addressed the running back position. Like I said, that basically ends the Jeremiah Love at 9 dream.
Yeah, and like I said, they probably anticipated that they were not. That's per many reports just saying like that they didn't think that Jeremiah Love would ever even make it to 9. I think the consensus is that either at 4 at Tennessee or maybe 5 with Washington. Washington has 5, I think, right? Yeah,
7.
One of them.
Giants have 5.
Titans and Washington. They both seem to be.
Giants have 5. The other
Giants
team you mentioned was the Saints, and then the Saints went out and signed a running back.
Yeah, so I think. The Saints probably didn't even think they'd make it to 8. Yeah, he would make it to 8. So that's
right.
Yeah.
Also, Alvin Kamara, what's up, dude? What's going on? What are you? Because remember, last year Alvin said he would only play for the Saints, and they just paid they just paid Etienne $12 million a year for the next 4 years. So it seems like the backfield got crowded.
Yeah, he still could contribute there, but the Chiefs still might even make probably going to have to make at least one more move in the running back department. I think a lot of people anticipate maybe a Kareem Hunt reunion will still happen just because he's a really good short yardage back. But who knows? Probably an investment.
Garrett, we should get to our new fullback.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, Kyle. Because there is another short yardage guy that has been added. So the next big signing for the Chiefs, defensive tackle Khyiris Tonga. signing. He was a former Patriots defensive tackle who also, they're signing Super Bowl players. That's what we're doing. Really big fella, nose tackle. Out of BYU a couple years ago, he signed a 3-year, $21 million deal with 14 guaranteed.
BYU?
Out of BYU. Or is anyone surprised? Is anyone surprised that Andy Reid signed a BYU player?
To this team in BYU?
Yeah. So really quick signing.
Jacket Andy was wearing at the Big 12 tournament tonight. Anybody catch that?
I didn't see that. No, I didn't see that.
I'm gonna guess BYU.
You know what conference BYU's in now?
I honestly don't.
Big 12.
Big 12.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Khyiris Tonga. He's a defensive tackle, nose tackle. Also played fullback a little bit for the Patriots. They brought him in as essentially a big old Pat Ricard out there, or a Dontari Poe, whatever you want to consider him as. Put him in there.
Hungry pig.
Yeah, big fella who can block. He can block. So, but mostly I think the prospect of him, the fun part is the defensive side of the ball, nose tackle position. Tom, what do you think of Khyiris Tonga?
I think he's trash. I think it's a terrible move. No, I'm just kidding. He's a guy that I remember him as a prospect, and
big fella.
I think one of the things that stood out just watching the reaction from Patriots fans being upset. I think everywhere he's gone, he's been touted as a good teammate. I think so. Derek Nottie is. I tweeted this is how Derek Nottie can't hurt you anymore. Part of the reason why Derek Nottie stuck around so much is because he did his job, he worked hard, and he was a good teammate, right? And I think Tonga has all of those things, and has a little bit more athleticism, has a little bit more girth, has a little bit more power. I think he can provide some more pass rush. He doesn't always his sack. He's got half a sack credited to him in his career, but he's got some pretty good pressure numbers. He can kind of move the pocket when needed. So, he is the type of player that they needed. The defensive tackle market is pretty rough, and I'm trying to figure out how to get good value there. I thought the deal was very very appropriate for where he's at as a player. I also think kind of bounced around from team to team. So I think one of the things that I'm more excited about is now that he has a little bit more stability is what that looks like for his development. I know he's 29. He came out as an older prospect though, so there might still be some meat on the bone in terms of his growth as a player. But I think if nothing else, you raise the floor of that defensive tackle room pretty high, pretty well, knowing that you're going to have next to Chris Jones, and you now have two starters, right? And you have Omar Norman-Lott, who again is coming back from injury. We'll see how he plays out. But you got two starters, right? And that is the minimum that you need to run a 4-3 defense. So that's a good start. There's probably more to be done there, but I think he's going to be a guy that the Chiefs fans love, just because I'm sure he's going to have some great sound bites, and I think he's going to fit in very well with the defensive culture. I'm sure Spags will love him too.
Yeah, he's a fun prospect because he's explosive. He's a powerful dude. He's one of those kind of sawed off fire hydrant type guys. So he's 6'2", 320 something. So he is a true just space eating nose tackle that you're gonna have to block with two guys, which is hopefully going to free up Chris a little bit now, because everyone's been double teaming Chris Jones for years because we haven't had anybody opposite of him to really force another double team or to put added attention to. So I think this is going to free up Chris a little bit. My only little concern is, he's been in the league now for 5 years. This is going to be his 5th team now. So he's with Chicago for a year, the Vikings for 2, the Cardinals, and then the Patriots. So he's bounced around a bit. So I'm a little concerned about why he hasn't been able to stay in the spot very long. He hasn't started a ton of games. He's played in almost 70, but he's only started 15. He does have some good ability to push the pocket initially with his explosion and his power, but like Tom said, he's got half a sack to his credit. Now, those numbers aren't always the driving factor in production by any stretch, especially for a no tackle type player. His job essentially is to eat up two guys to free up his partner on the inside and to free up the linebackers so they can run free. So I'm not looking for his numbers to be huge by any stretch, just because that's not his job. But I am just a little concerned about why he keeps bouncing around a little bit, hasn't stuck with a team for more than 2 years. But with all that being said, like Tom said, we have two starters now for sure. Everybody knows I'm not a huge Omar Norman Lott fan. I didn't think he was the right pick. We'll see when he comes back, from his injury, what he looks like. He can go back to being a rotational guy, which is what he was in college to begin with, to come in as more of that explosive pass rushing 3-tech type kid. And maybe that's his role, but who knows? But we do have two in the room now that can start. We'll see when he comes back from injury. I still think we grab at least one in the draft in our top 4 picks, and there's a lot of good interior defensive linemen in this draft that I really, really like. So we improved with the signing. I think he's a quality player. We'll just see what happens after that.
Yeah. No more Derek Nottie and probably no more Mike Pinnell, right, Kyle? So this is the replacement for those guys.
Derek Nottie can't hurt you anymore because Chris Ballard signed him. So good luck in Indianapolis.
We can still trade for him. We can still trade for him.
He can't hurt you anymore right now.
He signed somewhere else last year, and he still ended up back.
Out in the universe.
Tonga didn't cost us a 6th-round pick to the Jets, so that's also
actually I don't even think. Sorry, I don't even think you can trade for him again. I don't think you're allowed to trade for the same guy in like a 3-year period. I think it's actually a rule.
I don't think so because Bill Belichick did that like 7 times.
I think when 2 years after Tyreek we traded him, people were like speculating, and they were like, "Nah, he can't get traded back until like 3 years after." I feel like I saw that
doesn't make any sense.
I'm going to tell myself that that's true so that he can't come back. Okay.
Well, that's fine. I do think yes, this is the end of both Derek Nottie and Mike Pinnell. Probably Mike's a little older now. The last down the stretch there didn't go great. I mean, obviously there was a bunch of weirdness to last year for Mike, so I can't really put too much blame on him necessarily. But it's time to get younger. It's time to get some more rotation in. The locker room presence, I do think matters. I think him and Chris will be a good fit. They'll be happy-go-lucky, goofing around, having fun. But also, I think Chris is going to enjoy having a guy like that next to him that does eat up double teams once in a while. Or if they do decide to double team Chris, now all of a sudden that guy's one-on-one, and he's a lot harder to block one-on-one when he outweighs you by 30 pounds and has explosion, like Randy said. So I like it. I do think they have to hand in the ball on the goal line like 5 or 6 times this year. I think that's a must. Maybe throw him one too, just to get him all the way around in the mix.
I'm sure Andy would like
really see about developing the offensive side of the ball skills for him, turn him into an actual weapon to go with it. So
might as well.
And that's people might think I'm joking, but I'm really
that's an Andy Reid special. Andy Reid's been doing that since
the team is really actually like at its best when they're doing stuff like that. That's how you know they're clicking and they're functioning and they're running. You haven't seen it much the last couple of years. We've been asking where it is. Well, they can't run the normal right. So they can't run the special stuff if they can't run the normal stuff. So
the closest we saw that was like when they used Leo Chenal as a fullback. So yeah, maybe I bet Andy will get back in his bag and get the big guy back out there. But if anything, good addition to the D-line room. Shout out to Khyiris Tonga. The next signing, another familiar player, I guess we should say, Alohi Gilman, safety, former Chargers, former Ravens safety, who's been in the league for a little while now. He signed a 3-year, $24.75 million deal, $15 million guaranteed. This is kind of the Chiefs. This is what Brett Veach likes doing. He likes just signing safeties to 3-year deals. We saw it with Tyrann Mathieu. We saw it with Justin Reed. We had a little bit of a stopgap last year, and then now we have again another young safety to come in. Replace some of that production that we've lost with a lot of our departing free agents. He was traded for by the Ravens midway through last season from the Chargers, and it seemed like he had pretty glowing reviews about him when he went over to Baltimore. seemed to really be a good complement piece to Kyle Hamilton. A lot of people were saying just because he was able to do kind of a lot of that stuff that frees up Kyle Hamilton to be Kyle Hamilton. So, good player, young player still. Not maybe the most, crazy polished player, but really a lot of good signs. A lot of good signs from some of the things that I've seen from him. So, what do you guys think? Whoever wants to go first, what do you guys think?
Ooh, can I go first? I want to go first. I'm going first. All right.
Okay, Tom.
This was a signing that I was like, yeah, I think that would be good. And then I watched him a little bit more after the news came out, and I'm pumped. Just to be as straight up with you as I can.
Nice.
It's interesting because the Ravens traded Odafe Owe to the Chargers for him. There's a couple of late round picks, but Gilman was a 6th round pick. Owe was a 1st round pick. There's some respect there professionally, and the Ravens are pretty good at evaluating talent. I thought it was interesting that they hired Phillip Rivers as their assistant general manager. I don't know if you guys saw that. He taught him how to pull out. No, he doesn't know how to pull out. Dang it, I botched that joke. I was sitting on it all day.
So close. Right. You're so close to it, Tom. Oh, that was
never mind. We'll workshop it. We'll work it next
episode. After I give you props on your quick wit and comedy skills earlier pre-show, you went and fumbled that one.
Sit on that one all day.
I see your face to that because it would have been good anyways. And he's smooth. He didn't test the best at the combine. He didn't measure. He's not the biggest guy. It is so hard to compare anybody to Tyrann Mathieu because Tyrann Mathieu is just such a unique dude. But when you look at how the Ravens used him in terms of a kind of Swiss Army knife, deep coverage, bring him down on a blitz, throw him in the slot. I really think that I think he can be utilized in a similar way. I think hopefully that means you can put Shamari Connor and Jaden Hicks in positions to be more successful. When they are on the field, I still think it's a need. But again, just like I said at defensive tackle, all right, we know we've got at least one starter. I would say Jaden Hicks is, I know he had a down year, but probably the other. And Shamari Connor is what Shamari Connor is. He's going to, he's the new Dan Sorensen. We can embrace it. But I was excited about the Gilman signing. I thought it was a great deal money-wise, and I think he just fits what they asked their safeties to do. And he just seems to be a guy who gets it. Especially think about he joined the Ravens halfway through the season, and their defense changed. Their whole defense changed very for the better, and that's in 12 games. He picked up the system. He learned all that. He learned new teammates, learned new language, and ran with it. So I think that's awesome. I think it's has the potential to be a really sneaky good signing.
Yeah, Drew Tranquil said good things about him, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, those Golden Domers, they got to stick together.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Tom said, he's I think it's a good signing. Is it gonna blow my hair back and give me shivers of excitement? No, but he's a solid player. He's been in the league for about 6 years. He's not a huge physically imposing guy. He's 5'10", about 200 pounds. He's a corner that can tackle in my book. But he's versatile. He has some leadership ability. He's smart. He's physical. He plays bigger than his smaller frame, which is nice. But like we said too, this is kind of that typical, bring in a veteran guy for 3 years who's going to add a little bit of leadership and Swiss Army knife ability, especially to a room that doesn't have anybody like that now. Leadership wise, like we had Connor and Hicks, and all the veteran dudes are gone. So we needed somebody like that to kind of help those young guys along. But a solid signing. We got 2 starters now. We got 3 guys we can put on the field in nickel situations and stuff like that. So, it's a good one. I was happy when this one came across too.
Yeah.
Alohi started at Navy in 2016 as a freshman. He was a transfer into Notre Dame his junior year. His transferred sophomore year, had to sit out a year back when they made him sit out a year because, college rules were different then. Played his last 2 years at Notre Dame in 18 and 19. I look, he's been good. He's undersized, probably one would say. Like Randy mentioned, he's only like 5'10". So that was always a discussion about him when he was coming out. Yes, he was a later round pick. He was a 6th-round pick. He was one of the things, as Garrett and Tom alluded to, with the Ravens defense last year. He was kind of the thing that changed. Yes, healthier in a couple areas, but when they traded for him, as Garrett mentioned, he allowed Kyle Hamilton to be Kyle Hamilton and to do that roaming type stuff. He can tackle. He does. He has the ability to play man coverage because they also used him as a corner at points in time at Notre Dame. Because sometimes when you play safety at Notre Dame, you get to play man coverage as a cornerback too when they just don't take you off the field. They do. They've done that for years. Sometimes it makes me want to pull my hair out, and sometimes it works great. Just depends on who the safety is.
Depends on the dude.
Mm-hmm. So and he was always annoying when he played for the Chargers. Always. He was always Derwin's counterpart, kind of out there, allowing Derwin James to be Derwin James. You see, I see a pattern here. Also, I don't think you'll have to, hopefully, knock on wood, I don't think you'll have to worry about Shamari Connor being their safety that gets to play man coverage as much with Alohi on this team.
We can only hope. We can only pray.
So he should see more of those tight end assignments on the man coverage. Yes, I know he's only like 5'10", but he's much better in that aspect than Shamari is, which, again, that bar is in hell, but at the same time. So I'm happy about it. I like I said, I've been watching him play since he was. I watched him play in 2016 too because we Notre Dame plays Navy every year, and he was annoying when we played against him as a freshman. So I'm excited to have him. Yes, Drew is also excited to have him. I think they were at Notre Dame. I think he was probably there. Drew was probably there as a senior when he transferred in, would be my guess.
And if not, they were keeping for the Chargers too. So
yeah, and he's like I said, he's 28. So also, that's not his full name, and I wish you all of you the best. If
I
you
saw, I was, I forgot about that. I was gonna do a bit and introduce him as that, but I forgot to do that. Yeah,
like I said, I wish you the best.
Let me look it up.
He's.
Oh yeah, I got it. It's Asai Alohi La Neokala. Alohi La Neokala. Yeah.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Oos. Shout out to Oos. Alohi Gilman. That wasn't too bad. Yeah. Give me a couple more weeks. I'll nail it. I'll have it nailed for sure. I like those Samoan names and all that. Kingsley Suamataia, all that stuff. That's add more ooses to it. So yeah, happy to have Alohi. We'll see. Hopefully, this isn't like it's going to rule out any more additions to the secondary. Obviously, they're still going to need a lot more additions to the secondary, and probably still the safety room is going to need some added draft picks or something.
Hubbard is bare.
Yeah, so it's we still got some work to do there, but like we said, it's another starter, another guy that can raise the floor of the position, and another guy you don't have to really necessarily teach him the position. You're just teaching him the scheme and all that. So it should be good. It should be a good addition. Last but not least, the last signing of Monday, which would also, it came literally like 2 minutes after this announcement. This was at like 8 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night. Chiefs re-signing Tyquan Thornton, which is a pretty exciting one. I think that was a move that a lot of us really wanted to see just because of the role that Tyquan played last year, especially early in the season when Rashee Rice was suspended and Xavier Worthy was injured. He was kind of the main explosive threat throughout the whole year, basically. I mean, he was the only deep ball threat we really had. He had a really good connection with Pat. Pretty early on, it seemed like their chemistry was really good, which you don't always see right out the gates with a quarterback wide receiver duo. But these guys, they definitely figured it out pretty early. And after Rashee came back and then Worthy came back, his usage came down to a minimum. And that was definitely hindsight a mistake. I think the coaching staff and everyone watching could definitely see that just with the amount of juice that he added and just the amount of playmaking ability he has. So, that was one of the things when he was going into free agency. He was kind of going on to some podcasts and stuff like that, and Kay Adams show and all that, talking about he really wanted to be, with a team that would utilize him properly and all that type of stuff. Ultimately, it seems like he felt comfortable going back to the Chiefs. 2 years, $11 million, which is maybe a little bit higher than what some might have anticipated for a guy with not that much production. But for me, I feel like that's a pretty good deal for him, for a guy that's at your floor, a good wide receiver 3, and can definitely elevate that room. Not say you're not going to make more additions, but he's good. I like Tyquan. He was really good last year. Happy to have him back. What do you guys think?
Tyquan Thornton did a whole press tour that said,
yeah.
"Pick me," followed by "Help me help you." That was the whole premise of his entire press tour that he did. He was talking to Brett and Andy the whole time. Pick me between him and Hollywood and Juju and all those guys. Pick me and then play me.
Yeah, exactly.
Please.
Which I think you can easily replace all three of those. Juju and Hollywood, we don't need their snaps anymore. Like, just give most of those to Tyquan, and I think we're going to be a lot better overall. So,
yeah, I mean, he's an explosive dude, and he was, he underplayed to his ability in New England. We were able to get him, and it kind of re-sparked his career, brought some life back. But
underplayed is rough. That's brutal,
right? But I mean, you think of it. You look at the stat line last year. Like, he only caught with like 19 balls, but he averaged 23 yards per catch. Like, he is and was literally the only deep threat that we had. It seems last year because Worthy was banged up and they didn't really use him how we were kind of hoping, stretching the field and whatnot. But in a wide receiver room right now that is kind of up in the air with God knows what's going to happen with Rashee Rice and his inability to act like a decent human being for the most part. And is he going to be able to be on the field and stay on the field and not be suspended or get hurt? Like, you just never know what you're going to get with Rashee. And there's really not a whole lot left. Like, Xavier's there and an unproven Jalen Royals because he never really got an opportunity to do anything last year. And then, another guy that we weren't really going to talk a ton about tonight is, we re-signed Nico, just really return specialist who really wasn't that great at that last year either. So the wide receiver room is not looking real fantastic. There is some talent and ability there, but there's a lot of unproven talent and ability. But bringing Thornton back was definitely a step in the right direction. And without Juju and Hollywood not coming back, thank God, that gives him some more opportunities to come in and play that X-type, stretch the field dude and give him some real opportunities to see what he's really about. So it was a good signing.
Before Tom goes, saying he underperformed in New England and knowing full good and goddamn well who played quarterback in New England while he was in New England is some heinous slander, sir. Heinous.
He's also underused, I feel like, in New England too. That's another way to put it.
Yeah, you know who else sucked in New England but then was pretty good when he got here? Juju. So let's hold off on blaming New England. Why anybody that comes out of that old regime in New England, the dying parts of Bill Belichick and whatever the hell happened up there for a couple of years until Braves got there.
For 1 year with Rod Mayo, yeah.
Yeah, that
yep.
stuff. So yeah, let's not blame the receiver.
I'm not saying it was all Tyquan's fault, but it's just a highly touted. What was he? He was a second rounder, right?
Well, that was also the kind of criticism. He was a little overdrafted. That's a lot of people said.
Yeah, that they took Cole Strange. I'm not convinced that Belichick wasn't trying to get fired with how that draft went. Like,
yeah,
I forgot about the Cole Strange pick until you just said that, and I was like, yeah, like that's
when the Rams reacted and they were like, we were looking at that guy in the 4th round.
And they said it out loud where people could hear it, and it was on video. Yeah,
and they're like, "Oh, we just mean we're stupid for thinking that he would make it there." Oh, yeah,
yeah. We're dumb.
Yeah.
Hey, real quick, has anybody seen Cole Strange recently?
He's still out there. He was playing for the Dolphins, but not the Patriots. Yeah, not the Patriots.
So yeah, and that's not entirely fair to Thornton because you get drafted that high and there's expectations and you know, as a prospect, he was a guy who was raw, but he's athletic, right? We've talked about this before. 6'2" and 190 something or 180 something. You know, ran a 4.2. I think it was a 4.24 or 4.28. Like
4.28, 4.29. Yeah.
Boy was scary at Baylor. He was scary at Baylor.
Oh yeah,
really good.
But Baylor doesn't really run a lot of, like, their route tree is very advanced. So like,
hey bro, go deep.
Yeah. I think the best thing or the biggest thing about that is, you know, it's a guy that Pat seemed to have some chemistry with, seemed to have some trust in. You know, like we talked about, snaps went down throughout the year. I'm sure that was part of the conversation. Again, it raises the floor. I think some of these guys we've talked about, like Nico and some of these other fringe players who are still on the roster, I think part of this is, you know, the Chiefs are going to bring in more bodies and make these guys earn their jobs, you know. Whether that's, you know, I mean, there's the draft still. I think that they'll still make some moves in free agency. I think they're going to do some bargain hunting. I would not be surprised if they're active in the post-draft free agency. I think that there's always some bodies there. But yeah, it was one of the things that I really wanted to get done was bringing back Tyquan, because it just gives you a little bit more insurance at a position that sometimes like the injuries can rack up quickly. And yeah, I was a big fan. Thought it was a good deal money wise. Yeah, and
Tyquan, what I really like about this going into is we actually have a legit wide receiver coach now too.
That is also huge.
You know, that's going to help in his route running and his, you know, ability to understand defenses and to have just some more of those nuanced types of things that he might not be having in his game. But also, like, having a legit coach is going to be huge for that room, especially with the young guys that are in there, because like they're all young.
Yeah.
Like,
they all need some development.
In the league for 4 years? Xavier 2, Tyquan 4. You know, like Jalen is coming into his second year. Like, it's a young room. Now we have a good, experienced wide receiver coach to lead them.
I was going to say, this is the first time
letting Hop and Trav do the work.
I was going to say, this is the first time they're going to be being coached by an adult. So this will be a little bit different. Maybe Xavier will be able to figure out where a sideline is, or you know, routes get run a little smoother. Technique gets developed instead of, yeah, man, that looks good. And look, like we're not in the building, but guys, we've been very clear on this podcast. I've been talking about it for 2 seasons. Connor and Embry and I had the same qualifications to coach wide receivers for the Chiefs. Like, I'm not even trying to be hyperbolic. Like, it's insane.
No, he was pretty bad. The upgrade, having Chad O'Shea come in now, who's like an actual legit, lots of experience.
20 years doing it at the position.
Yeah. All that is definitely.
You've got a really young room,
big contributor,
as everybody mentioned, but
developing guys.
And Tyquan's still a young guy too. I mean, he didn't have a lot of development options in New England at wide receiver. He came here to get no development help from the wide receiver coach. So it'll be good for all of these guys. I mean, but it does help that he already has a built-in chemistry with Pat. And I do think he was the best of all of the expiring contract wide receivers last year. And that's nothing against Juju, who is, I still don't know how he's played football the last 2 seasons, because his knees seem to be held together by hopes and dreams. So,
yeah, and he's tough, played tough.
And also, people don't realize Juju's been in the league for like a decade, even though he's only like 28 or 29. He's been in the league forever. I still don't know how, but he has been.
Shout out Tyquan coming back. Last two moves I'll just quickly brush through real quick just because they're kind of procedural ones. We re-signed punter Matt Ariza, and by re-sign we really just give him like a restricted free agent tender or something like that, but their agent spins it as a re-signing. He just tendered basically, so he's going to be back. And then also we did re-sign James Winchester, our long snapper.
Heck yeah.
Shout out James. He's been here forever. I think it's kind of a combo of like, hey James, do you still want to play? Cool. All right, sign this contract. Come back for another 1-year deal, and
hey boss, I need
next year.
I need 100 snaps out of you. Here's $1 million.
Yeah, and
thanks,
long
buddy.
snappers. I mean,
the dude is automatic, and in a position that is just an unsung hero. It's that one position that you never, ever, 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 ever want to see in the press in any way, shape, or form, because that means you did something bad. No one knows who Winchester is, and that's perfect because he is automatic when it comes to long snapping, and that is a dying art. And in the football world and the special teams world, like that is just having a great big pot of gold, knowing that you never have to worry about a botched snap anywhere. So re-signing him, while is like completely under the radar and doesn't seem big to anyone, is actually huge in the special teams game.
Yeah,
I will give credit to Chiefs fans. Most of the Chiefs fans have a really big appreciation and understanding for who James is. He's been here so long now. We've also had a nice history of having basically 2 long snappers for my entire life, because the guy before him snapped for like 16 years too. So, but it is an underrated thing about, because it's probably one of the most technical jobs on the entire field, and most of your average fan has zero clue about just what I mean. Like, for example, there is a certain number of rotations the ball is supposed to spin between the snapper and the holder on an extra point, so that the holder doesn't have to be juggling the ball around, moving it to get it where the kicker wants it to be able to kick it. Like, they stopwatch this stuff. He reps it. That dude is probably going to sleepwalk when he's about 60 and just be standing next to the bed doing long snapper drills the same way over and over again. But shout out to James. He's earned it. He can go hunt with the other specialists when he's not snapping, and keep doing his thing. That's the one thing, man. Long snappers can play for a long time.
Yeah, not much wear and tear on the body in that position. Although he can still get down there and cover a punt.
That is one thing I give James. He does be the mostest.
He'll lay some hits. He'll run down there and cover a ball. I mean, he's not getting a contract just because like he is legitimately like a top 5 long snapper in the game.
You guys know who the backup long snapper is, right?
Travis.
Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that keeps Travis away from long snapping is important.
Yeah,
I think they should have an emergency long snapper rule, like they have the emergency goalie rule in hockey, where they just pull some random guy.
Just have that dude in the stands waiting just in case.
Hey, first of all, the e-bug in hockey is one of the best things in sports, because it's a local pro. It's a local semi-pro or guy that used to play pro that played a few games that they keep on standby in case all the goalies have massive problems. And sometimes they win you games. So it's not like a cab driver that they just yank out and stick in goalie gear. But
that's what I'm saying. I love it. It's like
that's what I'm saying. We love it, Kyle. We love hockey.
Yeah.
I know. I don't want people thinking that like they just have a random. You can't just enter a raffle to be the e-bug for the night, and then if it happens, it happens. Like, it's not how that works. So
the problem is there's not really like beer league, long snapping leagues like there is like a hockey leagues or something like
Right.
It's like
Correct.
a little bit harder, Yeah. So shout out to
somebody who's like morbidly obese in the hockey net.
It's honestly Tom, this will be quick. It's honestly easier if they're fat and slow, because you can't cover the entire net. So
I'm talking like, do you remember the professional wrestler Viscera? Just cram him in there. He's dead.
He's dead.
And there's not going to be space for somebody of his size. There's not going to be space for the puck to get in.
Yeah, there is, because once you hit them with it a couple times, they'll move. Shit hurts.
I don't know. You get a lot of layers.
All right, sounds like we need to put Tom in a goal, Kyle. Sounds like we need to put Tom in a goal.
If anybody wants to volunteer to throw some goalie pads on, we'll make some content out of this. We'll do Chiefs trivia questions, and for everyone the commenters get right, I get to take a clap bomb at Tom.
No, I flinch. No, my parents.
What is a Maine Chiefs color? Red? Boom!
Wrong. Okay, so we're an hour and 10 minutes, and we've covered every signing so far from the Chiefs. We're going to spend the next 15, 20 minutes or so basically quickly going over some of the departures, because there's a lot of departures. And, I think we can really sum this up by kind of saying, like, man, that 2022 Chiefs draft class, right? The one that got us back-to-back Super Bowls, three Super Bowls in a row attended with them. Like, just easily goes down as the best draft class in Chiefs history. And they're all gone, which is kind of crazy. George Karlaftis was the one survivor that actually got an extension. Everyone else is gone. So we'll run through the list here just so you can kind of see. It's, we traded Trent McDuffie. Obviously, that's one. Brian Cook signs with Cincinnati, which, that makes sense. Hometown guy. Jalen Watson signs with the Rams as well. Leo Chenal signs with the Commanders. Isaiah Pacheco signs with the Lions. There's no one left. I mean, it's kind of sad. On one hand,
Josh Williams signed somewhere else.
Josh Williams signed.
Carolina,
Derek
I think,
been gone
right?
for a while. Sky Moore's been gone for a while. There's only
Sky Moore just got a contract. Moore just got signed also.
No word on Najee Johnson yet. He is literally the only last one to
I think he's the only one
be in limbo. But first and foremost, shout out to all those guys, right? I mean, phenomenal players from start to finish. Brian Cook, Jalen Watson, Isaiah Pacheco, Leo Chenal, so many really talented dudes that rightfully so. They earned a good payday, right? Like they did. A lot of them got paid a lot more than what the Chiefs probably would have been able to pay them. And, from the Chiefs' perspective, I think, this is obviously part how you keep a championship roster, right? You can't pay everybody. You have to draft and rely on draft picks to turn over and whatnot. And with the way that last season went, obviously, I think there's just a lot of desire for change and fresh starts and fresh faces in general. Not to say they couldn't have gotten any of these deals done and had really a lot of success with them still, but this seems to be the Chiefs' strategy, is that they're kind of letting the basket empty and refill it with some new pieces there. So, I know we all have a lot of really special connections to some of these guys, getting to watch them for the past 4 years. Randy, I'll let you start, Randy. With I know Leo Chenal was a guy that you were really bummed about losing.
Yeah. I've been a big fan of Leo since he was playing in Wisconsin, and when we drafted him in the third, I was just absolutely stoked because he's just an absolute beast. Like, and the crazy thing is like, so he's been in the league for 4 years and he's won a few Super Bowls, and his talent is still just like untapped to me.
Yeah.
Like, the dude can play the run. Like, you can drop him down and he can rush the edge. Like, he was developing in pass coverage skills as well, but like, he's just a physical freak. I shared a little story or clip on X today. My wife and I went down to the Super Bowl in Arizona, and I was at the Lot J tailgating party, and I bought a mystery box, and I got a signed Leo jersey, which I was super pumped about. My wife wore it during the game. And it's gonna end up on my wall in a box framed up. But I really, really, really wish we would have brought Leo back, because I think he is still just an untapped freak of nature that can do a lot of good things, and I think he's going to do some great things in Washington. But that was, trading away, McDuffie. We knew he's a top 5 corner, but there was no way we were going to pay that. But I think there was a real legit shot to bring Leo back at a reasonable contract, and to see him get signed away for around $8 million a year.
Like 3 for 24.
We could have, hoping we would have been able to swing something like that. But losing some of these guys that have brought us back to this realm that we, the Chiefs live in, going to Super Bowls all the time, and they were definitely a huge, huge, huge piece of that our success. So watching them leave sucks. But yeah, losing Leo hurt this guy anyway.
Yeah, a lot of snaps lost in general from from the past couple years that we need to replace now.
Randy does have feelings, guys.
I mean,
soulless, grumpy old man.
This is part of the deal. As Garrett it's been discussed. It's how you build championship rosters. You have to make the right decisions on who you pay and who you don't pay. I think that's been some of the frustration with some of the free agent decisions that have been made over the last couple of years by some folks. I think the Leo deal you probably could do if you were going to be willing to use Leo as he should have been used from the beginning.
That's kind of
I don't think that's happened in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it was going to happen in Kansas City because Spags loves Nick Bolton. So,
Leo can be a Mike linebacker for you if you wanted to. Yeah, but we have that. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was a Mike linebacker for you, and he was a Mike linebacker for Wisconsin in college. He was the captain of the defense. He's an A+ human. He's an absolute psychopath as far as physically. The Commanders fans found the bus clip today.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's
and I'm like, yeah, guys, we've been tell people like, yeah,
Yep.
So
Leo will live on in Chiefs legacy for sure.
I mean, he bent the bars on the top of the bus, pulling himself up, and then bent them back straight afterwards. So there's a lot of really big memories with a lot of these guys. That especially that DB room, that basically was the catalyst for flipping that defense around in one swing. They hit basically everything in that draft.
Yeah.
Even the guys that they took late that weren't constant players. Like Nazi dealt with a bunch of injuries, and had his ups and downs. But I mean, they got production out of everybody that they took in that draft, especially that DB room. That DB room was a special group, and to see 3 of the 5 get paid was really cool. Brian Cook going home, getting a big bag. Trent going back home, getting a gigantic. And I will say this. The Chiefs did try to pay him, if everything is to be believed. They were up in the $90+ million guaranteed range. But when you do $100 million in guaranteed money for a corner, it's tough. So that's like 5 players that aren't Trent McDuffie for the Chiefs team. So
yeah,
tough business decision. It's a tough decision. Nobody likes to see these guys leave. The Leo one does hurt, because Leo's been just an absolute joy to have around Kansas City. Any interview, all the stuff he did in the community, it just seems like an A1 dude. But that's the thing with most of these guys. So it's tough, but this is how you compete. And I'm sure there's probably some time down the road that one or two or maybe all these guys venture on home some point in time when it fits, when the fit works again. So it's goodbye for now, not necessarily, and it'll never be goodbye forever, because like all we've said, every single one of those dudes is a Chief for life. There's multiple Super Bowls they were a part of, huge things that they did for the city, for the organization, for the fan base. So wish them all the best, except for when we play them, and enjoy that bag, fellas, because most of you got one that you earned. So
I'll just say, special draft class. History will look back and we'll talk about the Mahomes and Travis and Chris Jones and the dynasty. But if we're just being very brutally honest, that the dynasty is on the backs of those kids. When they came in at the level they came in as rookies, as sophomores, like that, and credit to Brett Veach for it, like that was a home run draft class. And I hope all of them go to have great careers. I think we've, really, following the team the way we do. It's going to be weird not talking about some of them and not seeing them in Chiefs uniforms, but that is the nature of the business. I think some of them are going to go on and do some awesome things. I think that they're, it's hard. It's hard to see them go. Dave Merritt was pulling the heartstrings. We teach and we grow. We grow and we go. Like that was the thing. So scouts very upset about it, and
I feel you, Scout. Yeah, so shout out to all those guys. Definitely, from a football perspective, a lot of snaps to replace, but just from a human perspective, a lot of leaders, a lot of really really good guys. So wishing them all the best for sure. So yeah, I think that's main. I mean, that's the main gist of it, guys. That's the main gist of it. Free agency, crazy time. It's going to be a very different Chiefs roster next year, and there's still a lot more moves that are on the way. We're only 3 days into free agency so far. There's a whole lot more.
Guys, we're 12 hours into free agency.
Well,
we're 3 days into legal tampering.
Yeah, you get it. So there's a lot more to go, obviously, and then draft picks and all that stuff. There's a lot.
Ask the Raiders whether or not legal tampering and free agency period is the same thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, that is true. Yep, Max Crosby is back with the Raiders. So we thought we got rid of him, and he's back, at least for now. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe he'll be a Chief.
While we're recording, he's come out and said that he is gonna play with the Raiders this year. So he's doubling down.
Hey, same as always, I guess, is what we'll roll with. So
right.
I think that's everything. I think that's everything we'll cover for tonight. Obviously, there's still a lot of free agent needs and free agent hopes that we'll talk about soon. And obviously the secondary, we still need some help in the secondary. Need some more pieces on the D line, edge rushers, stuff like that. Wide receiver room we talked about needs some more. We still need a backup quarterback because Gardner Minshew is now in Arizona. There's a couple other guys like Charles Omenihu has departed elsewhere, and Derek Nottie has departed elsewhere. So, there's a lot of snaps, a lot of guys that a lot of new faces that we're going to see. And, I guess to kind of close this off, like we talk about that 2022 class of how phenomenal they were immediately coming in. And we're going to need a pretty similar, off-season class essentially to come in here and really, really put a lot of snaps together and a lot of meaningful snaps together on the field pretty quickly.
Garrett, it's appropriate that you bring up the draft because I'm glad that we can squeeze this in here at the end. Okay. You mentioned my glasses earlier and related to the vibe coding. I wanted to clarify it. In our last episode, you repeatedly said to me, watch the tape, watch the film, watch the tape. Yeah. Garrett, I went to the eye doctor. Do you see these glasses? I got glasses, right? The glasses, perfect 20/20 vision right now. And I want to let you know, I went back and I watched Ruben Bain, arms still short.
That's not true, Tom. That's not true. Go back to the eye doctor. Tell him to update the prescription. You need a new one because that's not true. All right, that's just not true. Don't believe the fake narratives that surround that, Tom. I'm telling you. Ruben Bain's gonna be a Chief. Just you guys wait. He is gonna be a Chief. Keep on. Keep on bringing him down. Hopefully, the top 8 teams also hear this and they're like, you know what, Arrowhead Tom is right. His arms are really short. We shouldn't draft him. And then he's just going to fall right to the Chiefs at 9. Isn't that right, Scout? Yeah, Scout knows. Scout heard Ruben Bain's name, and he was like, yeah, I got to come contribute now. I got to come to the show.
I will say that there weren't a lot of defensive ends, and they did nothing at defensive end. They know. So they're going to have to do something.
Yeah, I was literally just kind of scrolling through to see who's left when it comes to the defensive line side of the ball in free agency, and you're looking at
nobody.
That's one guy.
It's a bunch of guys that have had success in the past or a little bit older, like the Joey Bosa's of the world or the you're looking at like
Doesn't talk about locker room fits. That's
Cam Jordan
guys
like that, but.
The CEO approved it. Chris Jones already said it. Cam Jordan, he's going to be a Chief.
There is a couple of mildly younger guys that are, I think, good rotational guys like Arnold Ebiketie and AJ Epinesa. Like those two guys are in that. They're 27 years old. They're rotational dudes. AJ's a little bit more of that bigger, stouter, Spags, run defender, defensive end. So I think there's a couple guys out there, but most of them are a little long in the tooth. So. Not a lot left in the cupboard when it comes to free agent defensive ends, but there's a couple still hanging there.
Yep. All right. I think that's it. I think we're going to get out of here now. We appreciate everyone for rocking with us on this episode. Thanks for the patience of waiting for this episode to come out and rocking with us for the whole hour and a half, essentially. So we really appreciate you guys. As always, the support means a lot to us. Be sure to check us out at Kingdom Says Pod, Facebook, X, Instagram. Check us out, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts at. We will be on it. And we will be back with you very soon for a lot more off-season fun. We've got some other plans in the books related to Tom's glasses, so that's fun. And just, a whole lot of excitement about the rest of free agency and the draft and the rest of the offseason. We're all itching for football, and it's getting closer and closer by the day. So just gotta hold out and hunker down and keep the faith up. That's one thing. Gotta keep the faith up. This is the time of the offseason where everyone should be optimistic about their team and how what moves they're making and what like that. So let's just keep the optimism and trust in Brett Veach, because Brett Veach is usually pretty good at his job, and he has a couple rings to show for that. So just trust in Veach. He'll be fine. He's gonna make some moves that you might not like, but just trust in Veach. Tom.
Oh, I was just getting ready to throw out the piece.
Oh, okay. You look like you're gonna raise your hand to interject or something. All right, that's it, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day, night, evening, wherever you are, and we will see you guys on the next episode of the Kingdom Says.